Do you have an opinion about oscillation vibration plates? It was suggested to me for improving stability. And this is great. I have used vibration plates in the past, and I actually went through and did some more research on them to see what is out there now, both for equipment and for information on this. And it's interesting. Vibration plates now are much more available than they were several years ago. They seem to be kind of a growing trend, and it looks like you can get a pretty decent one now off of Amazon for about $200, which was not the case, 5-7 years ago. So, they've kind of come a long way and are more accessible now for people at home than what they used to be. That being said, there is not a ton of literature out there. And what there is, a lot of them were looking at bone density, but there was one review article, it was from 2012, and for anyone who follows research, research has exploded so much in the last 20 years between the internet and various education things, and so things become outdated very quickly, and new things are coming so fast. So, I'm always having to go back and kind of review it and update. So 2012 is like, that's getting to be, that's going to be 10 years ago. And so, I do kind of look at that too. But basically, they are helpful. I found it interesting in this one review of research from 2012. It found that it improved strength in people who had neurologic issues. It improved balance in people who had musculoskeletal issues, so muscle joint things. And when we look at hypermobility connective tissue disorders, that usually spans both. You usually have some neurologic aspects, whether it's proprioception control and you tend to have muscle joint strength, weakness issues, and pain issues. So I think it would actually be very good for someone with hypermobility. I have not used it a lot in my practice because our access to them has been limited to some of the gyms in town. Although with looking at this, I might look to get one and start using it in my practice and kind of see what sort of results I get. So I'll have to keep you updated on that and how that goes. But it definitely can be a way to start. So with vibration plates, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, whole body vibration is basically you stand on a plate, or looks kind of like a scale, just a little larger, that then vibrates at a certain frequency. And so you can just stand on it, you can do exercises on it, you work on balance on it, and it helps you to work on your control and your stability. And there has been some theory and some evidence that it does help improve your strength and your power, doing exercises on a plate versus doing them on a floor, a non-moving surface. And so that the improvement has been relatively subtle, like 10 to 15%, which is still great. But it definitely is not like a magic piece of equipment or a magic item. So helpful, and if you're somebody who, it's hard for you to do much of anything, having a place to start where it's like just stand on the plate can be a nice place to start. Now, if you've got a lot of vertigo issues or dizziness issues, I would be very careful because it can aggravate that, but it definitely at least gives you an option to kind of move from. And for those of you looking to work more on balance and stability, it can be a nice addition in. Cost-wise, they're running a couple $100, which is a lot more reasonable than the $4,000 to $5,000 that they were 5 years ago. So that does make them an option. For any of you out there who are currently using them or have used them in the past with hypermobility connective tissue issues, I would love to hear comments from you on whether you felt like they were helpful, not helpful, what issues you ran into with them. Because as with everything hypermobility, if you've watched my other videos, It's all about how you do it. Excuse me. So anything can be done well or done poorly, all depending on the details. And so having some feedback from anyone who has done them, what your experience was, I would love to hear that as well.